Ladies and gentlemen, guess who's back in the lead row? It's your boy, the playmaker Darnell Sellens. And with me is Dallas Glenn. And Dallas, tell them what today is about.
It's about the good stuff, the great stuff. What you do on your Saturday mornings after you crank up the grill and get done with all the chores, kick the teenagers out the house so they can do whatever they want so you can live in peace, my brother. College football.
We're back. I waited a long time for this. But it is what it is. Dallas held it down on the lead row for wrestling as it always does.
Thank you. I try.
But it's time to talk about some football. And today, we're going to start off with the conference that holds the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. Then when we get done with that, we're going to go ahead, we're going to give you our thoughts on the group of five. Because we doesn't want to talk about the group of five.
I mean, hey, like a lot of people can't get into Florida. A lot of people can't get into USC. These are very popular and competitive schools. There are some people that have to go to BYU. There are some people that have to go to Boise State. There are some people that have to go to that one school in Orlando, UCF. Yeah, there's people go everywhere, Darnell. I got a cousin that went to UAB. They won 10 games last year. So yeah.
But let's jump right into it. The Atlantic Coast Conference. Reigning national champions, Clemson. Pretty much, it's Clemson's conference, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, let's just be honest. Like right now, because it can go very quick if we just ask that question and leave it there. So right now, you're looking at Florida State to bounce back, hopefully. And we're really only saying that because Florida State is a big name. You have Miami that has a new head coach after Mark Richt choked at the second school. You have Syracuse that came out of nowhere, but it's Syracuse. And even though they're in a major city and all that stuff, they're recruiting. They haven't been able to sustain stuff for a long term to be nationally competitive. And then you got Pitt, who was the other team in the ACC championship game last year, but they were kind of sort of who wants to lose the least in the Coastal Division, and Pitt was the one that raised their hand. So right now, there's really not a lot of competition. There's a lot of teams that are just going to be trying to play spoiler. They know they don't really have a shot to get into the New Year's Six this year.
I mean, it's Clemson's division. It's Clemson's conference. It is what it is. But I did do my due diligence, and I did some homework.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at the ESPN's, preview of the ACC, as mentioned, they are projected to win 12 games, so that's pretty much they projected them to go undefeated. So,
really now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn. It's weird because I really have this thing that I want to try to do, but at the same time, it's really. We were saying this in the pregame meetings and phone calls, but Darnell, there has to be something. There has to be something that could happen in the ACC early in the season that could put Clemson on notice. If only there was something that we could look forward to and tease in a couple of weeks that could let us know if a team is going to compete on the national level this season. I just don't know what.
I mean, I wrote down some key games for like most of the teams that we're going to talk about today. I wrote down for each of them. So.
Okay, well, I mean, so throw out a key game for Virginia. They have a returning quarterback who almost rushed for 1,000 yards, almost passed for 3,000. He's a weapon.
Virginia Cavaliers, they are projected to win about 7 to 8 games this season.
Okay, they're going bold.
So they got them going bowling. Their defense was ranked 31st last season.
Seeing as how there's 138 teams in the FBS now, that is actually very good.
So they bringing back both they starting corners in Bryce Hall and Darius Barton. So they secondary should be good.
Mhm.
We looking at.
Yeah, because you got a spread quarterback who's playing the dual threat game right now, and that's oof. Also, Darnell, I'm tripping. I just realized something.
Mm-hmm.
While two independent teams are for whatever reason considered group of five, even though they have multiple national championships between them, there is one that for some reason plays an ACC schedule, but is not in the ACC. There's a team out there that's just going to ruin everybody's season.
Yeah, and that team you're talking about is on a lot of the key games that I wrote down.
So you know what? Let's just make it easy on everybody. Let's consolidate some of this. Who is Notre Dame going to F up?
So Notre Dame, they do play Virginia Tech. November 2nd. Notre Dame also has Virginia on the 20th of September.
Ooh.
So both Virginia teams got to go to South Bend.
Okay, so that definitely means that Vodtech and Virginia are going bowling, but New Year's 6, that's donezo. Because let me double check real quick. Yeah, they're both in the Coastal. So not only don't they have to worry about each other this year? So don't they have to both play Notre Dame and they both play each other, right?
Pretty much, the Coastal Division is the division you want to watch, people. It's the Coastal Division you want to watch. Who's going to win it and try to take down Clemson is basically what we're doing.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, I'll give you the records from last year because all we can do is predict, Darnell. But I really want to make sure that we put things in perspective. In the Atlantic Division, Clemson, of course, were the divisional champions, going undefeated in the conference and 14-0 overall. The next best team in the Atlantic Division was Syracuse. They went 6-2 in the ACC and 10-3 overall. The second best team had a 4-game gap at the end of the year, won double-digit games. To compare this to the Coastal Division, Pitt, very respectable in-conference record at 6-2, which was the tiebreaker. But they only went 7-6. That literally means unless it was an ACC contest, Pitt was not going to win that game. Pitt would not have gone bowling if they were not in the ACC. That's basically what it says. And then you have 5-3 in conference, 7-6 overall Georgia Tech. Then you have 7-5, 7-5, 6-6, 7-5 Duke. But they're at the bottom because of 3-5 conference record, and then North Carolina rounding it out at 2-9. So Darnell, basically, it's 7 wins to 14 wins. And even if it was like the Big 12, where the best 2 get to go, nobody from the Coastal Division would have played in the conference championship game. That would have went to Syracuse. It's rough. It's looking rough, and Notre Dame just out here, I mean,
the funny thing is when you brought up Syracuse is ranked 4th in the Atlantic Division.
That's wild.
They have Florida State winning 8 games. They have winning 7 games, and Syracuse winning 6 to 7.
Wow,
games.
they have Syracuse. Oh, well, no, hey. I literally just said the same thing. Syracuse has to prove it. Syracuse has to prove that they can use New York City and compete with the Ivies to get the student athletes that are on the brink being strong walk-ons. And they have to prove that they can, quite frankly, compete and get the 4 and 5 stars. They're an ACC school, so of course they're going to get high 3 stars, 4 stars in the Northeastern region. Proximity to family, cost of travel, room and board, because not everybody's getting a full ride. But the thing is, though, Syracuse has been in a major conference for a long time. They were in a BCS conference in the Big East. After the realignment, they went to the ACC. There's been no excuse. No excuse. We look at a team like UCLA or USC every year. When are they going to come back? When are they going to get here? But we don't look at a Syracuse, who has all the same benefits as a USC or a UCLA. So I can't really – I think 4 is actually pretty good, all things considered. However, I mean, 6 or 7 wins, man.
Yep. They got Florida State bouncing back towards 8. Kind of curious on that. But I'll get back to the Atlanta division in a minute. I'm gonna finish up in the Coastal division because that's the division you really want to look at. So they got Miami at 8.2 wins. Virginia Tech at 8.4 wins, Virginia at 7.4 wins, and Pittsburgh at 6.7 wins. So pretty much what they're saying, the same 4 teams are going to battle for the Coastal yet again. They don't care about Carolina, they don't care about Duke, and they don't care about Georgia Tech.
Well,
so who is the Coastal is the question. Pitt is the defending champs, as Dallas mentioned earlier. We talked about Virginia's defense. Virginia Tech, I mean, it's Virginia Tech. Either they got it or they don't. There's nothing in between. Miami, like you said, they got a new coach. And opening week's going to prove a lot. Now that, I put a question out there on social media, and there's some people that really believe that Florida State and Miami are going to bounce back.
See, it's the part.
Even one guy said 12 wins for Miami.
It's the part that's getting to me. It's the and part that's getting to me because how? First of all, like cannibalism, in-state rivalry, and the fact that somebody is going to have to lose eventually because wink, wink, they play each other. I mean, at least in the conference championship game. But for you to think that both Willie Taggart and the new one, Coach Manny, I forget his last name.
Yes.
Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz and Willie Taggart. One is coming off of a despicable, just horrible. His starting quarterback transferred out, and his offensive line looked like they all need to just be re-recruited. And then another one is getting, for the most part, his same roster, but I don't know. I don't know because Miami has had different coaches. Miami has had first-round picks, second-round picks, third-round picks. They've had quarterbacks getting talked about, even though when you look at them on the TV, you don't think that there's anything to discuss. I mean, both of those teams, they're lacking talent at quarterback. I think actually they're both even lacking that star power at wide receiver, which at the college level, Darnell, people really underestimate the power of a first-round level talent at wide receiver in the college game. Look back over the years. Look at the top NFL receivers right now. Look at what schools they came from, and look at how the schools were doing when they were there. I think Juju Smith-Schuster might be the only one who hasn't been at a school that was nationally contending. Clemson has. Ohio State has. So, like, those two teams, you look at quarterback, you look at wide receiver. Those are the things that are going to put up points the quickest. Those are the things that are going to help you compete the quickest. They don't have that. So now you have to actually play real football. Let's look at the running backs. I mean, FSU has some guys from the Northwest Florida area. They have some running backs and everything, but they're going to be sophomores, true sophomores. And I don't even really know Miami's running back situation. Nobody's really picked up the mantle since Duke Johnson left.
Miami, they had their 6th ranked defense last year. The offense, however, was ranked 115.
Defense wins championships, but you still got to get to the game, Darnell. Still got to get to the game.
It's still a question at quarterback for Miami as of right now. And they lack a depth because they lost some defensive stars on that team. We'll see how that goes. So at Florida State, same question. Quarterback, O-line. Can the quarterback stay healthy enough because the O-line is better? Check this out. Last year, this is Florida State we're talking about. On offense. Ranked 97th last year.
Say it again.
97th in the country in offense.
My face just twisted up so hard. That's just, ooh. Again, but it goes back down to the thing, like, hey, like Florida State and Willie Taggart's offense is really trying to force game managers and dink and dunkers into an offense that relies on the deep shot after you establish the running game. The only problem is the offensive line couldn't establish the running game, and there were no deep threats. And the quarterback couldn't even stay in the pocket long enough because he was getting crushed.
Clemson, everybody else. Florida State should have at least 6 wins. They should at least go bowling this year. I'm gonna give them 2 more. I'm gonna give them about another win from last year.
Let's think about this real quick because, dude, and I'm gonna give you all the credit in the world. I'm not even trolling with this. I'm being completely genuine. You weren't easy on Taggart, but for what happened, you were very gracious. Now, granted, you're a Florida fan, and you would benefit a lot from FSU continuing to be in the current state that they are in. But, dude, the significance of you being an FSU coach, a new FSU head coach, and in your first year, the team doesn't go bowling. And quite frankly, I don't even think that the FSU boosters would have voted to go bowling if it was up to them. FSU probably would have had a year like Notre Dame had that one year where they say, yeah, no, thanks, but no thanks. Y'all can have it. That team was bad last year. You could see them on the field, and it was just like, what is this? Who is this? What is happening? And who are these people's children wearing these jerseys? Do you think that by Florida State standards, and let's be honest, you know, you want them to have a recruiting class. These are quote unquote Jimbo Fisher's guys, but dude, you have a whole year, and it wasn't like you were hired at the last minute last year. What do you think happens this season if they get 6 wins or less? Because falling in as first to a bowl game does not an FSU legacy make.
I have to be honest with you. The reason why I say at least 6 because I've seen their schedule. I counted 5 good wins. The 6th one's gonna be hard to come by. They're gonna have to catch somebody. I say 5 easy wins. At 6th one to get bowl eligible, you got to catch somebody. And what I mean by that, because let me go to the key games here. Starting out with Clemson, September 7th, they go to Texas A&M. Round 2 with Jimbo Fisher at the helm. And you know, last year that was a damn good game. Some of you say Texas A&M should have won that game. The following week, September 14th, Clemson go to Syracuse. We're going to see what Syracuse is made about. October 12th, that's when FSU takes that trip to Death Valley.
Oof.
That's a tall task for FSU. November 9th, Clemson goes to NC State. So they can be some roadblocks for the defending champs on the way trying to get back. But most likely, Clemson's gonna be favored in every game.
I mean, let's be real. Again, like we're doing a bang up job, making this more than what it really is. But you know, hey, it's the preseason. Everybody needs reps. Because I mean, it's how many other ways can we say it, Darnell, without being Ryan Hollins or a Dominique Foxworth? Like, it's Clemson's to lose. And even an ACC champion, I don't know if a 2-loss ACC champion gets to the playoff. But I do know the ACC champion will be in the New Year's Six. And with that, I mean, they'll basically be doing the whole Pac-12 thing. It's like they'll still be nationally relevant. They'll still finish in the national top 10 if they win the bowl. Hell, they'll probably get the bowl with the group of 5 team. Like, Clemson's absolute floor, a devastating season for Clemson, is getting to the conference schedule and losing to somebody in the ACC. Or, like, real quick, you could say they're playing Texas A&M this year, right? But they're playing a team in the ungodly, hellish, Dante's Inferno mythical SEC West. Wow. So Clemson might lose a game to somebody in the SEC West. Wow. So I mean,
The College Station.
when you're talking about a good loss, which still sounds so stupid after all these years of us trying to figure out who's going to get into the NCAA tournament in basketball when there's 68 teams you're letting in already. But dude, like that's a good loss. That's okay. You lost to somebody in the SEC West. That's okay. It ain't Arkansas.
Speaking of that, let me go to Miami key games. I already know who they opening up with down in Orlando. Order in Miami. Coach Diaz, you want to make a statement? Take down my Gators. A 10-win team Gators at that. October 5th, Virginia Tech comes to Miami. A quick turnaround because on the 11th, 6 days after that, Virginia comes to Miami. And then on the 26th of October, Miami goes to Pitt. November 2nd is the other instant rivalry game that we all love and care about so much. Up there in Tallahassee. So how Miami would do is the question. Let's go to Virginia Tech. Their first game, August 31st, they go to Boston College. They open up conference already. After that, November 2nd. That's that trip to South Bend. Take on the Irish. Pitt comes to them on the 23rd of November, and the in-state rivalry with the Cavaliers of Virginia on the 29th of November. Here's Florida State for you, Dallas. First game at home, August 31st. Who do they play against? Boise State. You want to know what kind of season Florida State gonna have? They beat Boise State. They gonna be bowl eligible.
Like, dude, that would have been like a perfect tie-in, but I feel like you have more. Dude, that's too good. Oh God, that's okay. Go ahead.
September 14th, they got to go to Virginia. September 28th, NC State comes to Tallahassee. October 26th, Syracuse come to Tallahassee. And November 30th. You know they're gonna be in November 30th. It's that place, that's about like an hour and a half away from home, I think they call it the Swamp, if I'm not mistaken. They got like that orange looking stadium with some blue letters around it. That team that walked in, that went up to Tallahassee and gave them a beating of a lifetime. Yeah, they finished off with them Gators in Gainesville. Virginia, NC State, Syracuse, and Florida. I said I gave them 5 easy wins, right? I just gave you 5 games that is key for them. That's 10 games right there. Not to mention they still got to play Clemson at Death Valley. So that's 11.
Damn. Well.
Oh, week 1 gonna tell it all. I'm trying to tell you people. Florida State fans, week 1's gonna tell you something. Virginia, they opening up against Pitt. Out the gate, you got Virginia and Pitt going at each other. Out the gate. Somebody finna be behind the 8 ball already. As we mentioned, Virginia got to go to Notre Dame. That's on the 28th. So, I mean, who's going to be behind the 8 ball first? Virginia or Pitt? That's already done. I got a good one for you. This comes from NC State. September 14th. They got to take a trip up to the mountains, You know how high you go, you start looking at clouds, you and the clouds looking eye to eye to each other. When you get that high, you know where you at? You in the West Virginia.
Big 12.
Wolfpack versus Mountaineers. Oh my gosh. Don't Mountaineers, huh? Good luck to the NC State. They can bounce back because they got Syracuse coming in on October 10th. They still got to play Clemson down the road. They still got to go to Florida State. So, and the team I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here. If Pitt wins the Coastal again, right? Miami effed up, Virginia effed up, and Virginia Tech effed up. Let me tell you why. Now we already mentioned they got to play Miami. They opened up against Virginia at home. They still got to play Virginia Tech. That's at Blacksburg. There's already 3 games right there, right? They got to go to Syracuse. That's October 18th. They go to Penn State September 14th. You know who they got to play after that? It's one of them nights of UCF.
Jesus Christ.
If Pitt win the Coastal again, something wrong.
I mean, they fell in ass first. You are
Miami on the schedule, Virginia on the schedule, Virginia Tech on the schedule, Penn State on the schedule, UCF on the schedule, and you got to go to Syracuse. That is 6 games. So at least they got to be bowl eligible. They can't win the Coastal. They can't. There's no way they can win the Coastal. So shout out to Georgia Tech. You know, the only time we're gonna mention y'all is because y'all get to do something with Clemson. Y'all be the first team to do it.
Yeah, y'all have to with that.
There's another coming out. It's the ACC network, and the first game on the docket is Clemson and Georgia Tech.
Y'all have fun with that. We're gonna be down early, and the triple option is not fit for being down early.
You got your road bumps with Clemson, but most likely they probably survive those. Florida State need an extra win. Where do they get it? Miami, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. It's the coastal of doom in that division. Somebody got to win it. There's that. As we shift gears now to the group of 5.
Okay, now I'm gonna
go ahead this one off because he likes the group of 5 talks.
Okay, I was just about to ask you because you just seemed so excited at the beginning to lead stuff off. But okay, real quick, scale of 1 to 10. How much did you look into the group of 5 this offseason? Okay,
not much,
okay, so all right, good. All right, so there's a reason why I have found the 16 best group of 5 teams from last year. Actually, there's 2 reasons. One reason is UCF right now is hated by the committee, by Power 5 fans, by SEC fans in particular, and basically anybody who has a shot or voting power in them getting to a New Year's Six bowl. Unfortunately, they proved the point that we all kind of sort of knew, but unfortunately it's like now known to be true, and that's a group of 5 team is like never going to get to the playoffs, Darnell. Like UCF would have had to beat LSU last year. Then they would have had to go on this season and go undefeated again. And even then, there would have been arguments about who have they played, who are they going to play, what have they done, cupcake schedules, blah, 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 blah. So,
go ahead. I'm going to get to that schedule, but go ahead.
Yeah, you have UCF schedule. I'm going to let you handle that because I didn't look up schedules. There's 16 teams here, and none of them going to make the playoffs. I didn't care that much. So, hold off a UCF schedule. These are the 16 teams. These are the 16 teams right now who are the best in the group of 5 and are going in probably the best of the group of 5. In no particular order, we're going to get to that. Hawaii, Boise State, Utah State, BYU, Army, Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, UAB, FAU, UCF, Navy, Houston, San Diego State, Memphis, Northern Illinois, and South Florida. That is the pool that you basically have to choose from if you have some spare money left over and you want to pay off that mortgage in Vegas. These are the 16 teams that you're going to put the money on. Now, Darnell, obviously, if you're talking about who's the one or who are the ones that are going to go to the New Year's Six, well, it's between Army and UCF. Why would I include Army? Because Army just had back-to-back double-digit win seasons. And we're not just talking double-digit. We're talking 11-win seasons. 2 bowl game victories, 2 blowouts in Navy. So Army is now in the national conversation, and they're independent, and they're playing Michigan this year. So if the absolute dumpster fire of Jim Harbaugh's tenure in big high-pressure games continues, he will probably overlook Army, looking forward to somebody else, and an upset could happen. If Army were to beat Michigan, Army is immediately going to be there. UCF, even though you're going to get into it in depth, they play Pitt and Stanford. Pitt, dude, we just talked about Pitt. While they are a group of 5 opponent, yes. But Stanford, that's the one where it's like, okay, Stanford's been down in comparison to the Andrew Luck run for a couple of years now. You wonder how they're going to come back and how UCF will be able to handle that. Then, out of those, when you talk about being in the conversation of a best of the best or whatever, you're only really looking at Boise State, BYU if they're scheduled, and I'll get into that in a little bit, and San Diego State. So it's really Boise State, BYU, Army, UCF, and San Diego State. Houston's on the outside looking in. Now, Darnell.
Wow.
It is, but this is why I have Houston on the outside looking in, because it's the preseason and we don't know. But Darnell, this is why I have BYU in my top 5 right now in no particular order. You'll help me figure out the order in a second. BYU plays USC, Washington, Utah State, Utah, and Tennessee, and they're an independent. That's 5 big games. Utah is a historic rivalry game. So that's a game they're going to play every year. That's a game they've played every year. So they have the precedence of having that whole who do you play every year thing already. Because you go down to a team like App State, they're in the Sun Belt, and they play UNC and South Carolina. Not cupcake games when you're coming out the Sun Belt, but dude, UNC won 2 games last year. They're not much better than anybody. So as I've said right now.
Okay, you convinced me. I ain't have BYU on my list. That schedule there though, whew, that's a bad schedule. That's a bad schedule.
Oh yeah, that's why I have them at 5, because it's a strong schedule. It's all I have to go off of, but I don't see them winning a lot of those games.
They open up against Utah. They go to Tennessee next. Then they get USC coming in, and then Washington. Good grief. That first 4 games, boy. Woo-hoo.
Okay, so real quick, because, I mean, let's be honest, Darnell. Well, no, first off, okay, so who on the list in the pool that you can remember, because there was a lot of names, do you think it's going to do better than I'm thinking right now?
Man. Let me think, because
now to help you on jog your memory, because there are a lot of teams in the group of 5. Memphis.
I'm looking at BYU schedule, and it's like, yo.
I know. That's why it's like, I mean, the thing is, in the preseason, dude, if BYU were to go 10-2 or 11-1 with that schedule, hypothetically speaking, like, dude, who has a schedule like that that's not in a Power 5 conference? Then on top of that, they still play a Mountain West schedule. They're independent, but they play a Mountain West schedule, and they have all these Power 5 teams this year. The Mountain West might be the best Power 5 conference.
Matter of fact, they go to South Florida, they play Boise State, they go to Utah State, they go to San Diego State at the end of the season. That's one. I'm looking at Army, and I understand Army is this and that, so they should win. They should have another good season. Like,
and that's why right now Army is my number 2 team out of 5. I managed to get the order together. Army is my number 2 team because they're Army. If Army has a third year consistent what they've been having, the pageantry, the history, all that good stuff, and they're independent, so they basically choose their own fate. Army, they're like I said, they're playing Michigan. That's a big Big Ten opponent, and then
so
UCF and Army right now, like, they don't have the schedules of a BYU. They don't have the multiple Power Fives of App State or a San Diego State. Well, UCF does, but like technically, but like they've been doing it. Right now, they are recently in this era. Okay, we had like a couple years where like nobody was the clear cut. Like we had Western Kentucky that one year. The hell was that? We had Boise State one year, didn't we? Or did we not?
Boise State was like early 2000s.
But no, like college football playoff era, and this is kind of sort of my point. College football playoff era, it's been Western Kentucky, UCF, and who else? Western Michigan, UCF, and then you really have to think hard. Like I'm looking at the list now. Northern Illinois was at the tail end of the BCS. They don't count. App State hasn't done it. Hawaii hasn't done it. Like you're talking about a couple of teams, and then you have to really go back in history. So that's why UCF and Army, like, if you were going to do a group of 5 magazine championship, group of 5 ranking or whatever, you have to have UCF and Army at the top 2 because they're the only ones that have been doing it for multiple years back to back in this era. And
they might do it the third year again because the only thirds I see is at Michigan, at Air Force, at Hawaii, and Navy. It's like 4 games.
Yeah. So the real talk comes down to 3 to 6. So Darnell, real quick, just so we can do it in a structured way. In a particular order this time, who would be your top 5 from the group of 5?
See, the teams I was looking at,
UCF. Is that one? Like, is this in order?
Stanford hit. They go to Cincy. They go to Temple. They play Houston at home, and it's the rivalry against South Florida. Can they duplicate what they did last year? It's a little bit more tougher this season than last season.
What are against Houston and USF going to do in the long run?
Because I had Houston number 2.
Is there a particular reason why you had Houston number 2?
September 1st, they go to Norman, Oklahoma. The first team that get to see Jalen Hurts in a Sooners uniform is Houston. After that, they got to play. Their home opener is the following week, and they got Washington State. So you talking about out the gate, Big 12, Pac-12 out the gate. Then they got Cincinnati, Memphis, and Navy. That's the other key games I'm looking at for Houston. First 2 games with Houston, it's gonna either prove that don't sleep on them, they coming back again, or they might fall. Cause they still got their quarterback.
Dude, it sucks though, because it's like either the reason why I have BYU in the top 5 is validated by Houston, or the reason why I shouldn't have BYU in the top 5 is validated by Houston. Because even though Gardner Minshew was a huge reason why Washington State had the year they had last year, they're still coming off of like their best year in program history. And they're only going to play a team that was in the playoff, who has the 3rd straight quarterback who might win the Heisman. See, it's rough because 2017, Houston was 7-5. 2018, they were 8-5. Already coming in being a bowl team in the group of 5. And then we have a team with 5 losses 2 years back to back, opening up against Oklahoma and a double-digit win Pac-12 team from last year. That's
Number 3 was
Okay.
Boise State. We're talking about opening up against Florida State in Tallahassee. So out the case, somebody gonna take a L.
Crazy thing is, like, you know, I have to look again, but I haven't been hearing no noise from Tallahassee. All I know is that their quarterback transferred to FAU as a graduate transfer, and he's going to be able to play immediately. That's the biggest news I've heard from Florida State. So
Hawaii gonna come to the blue field. I will hope that game is on TV because I would love to watch that. Hawaii's offense against Boise State's defense. Oh, that would be really cool. They go to BYU. They go to Utah State. So that blue turf ain't gonna be as much of an advantage this year as it was last year.
Previous.
They gotta go on the road and get some wins.
Also, for those who might be twisting their face up right now, Boise State, you know, we're not just going off of their early 2000s. We're not doing like, you know, some kind of historic bias or anything. 2017, 11-3, 2018, 10-3. So they're still the same old Boise State. It's just now we have a 14 playoff that they're never going to be in.
Right behind them was Utah State. Check this out. Now, remember last season, they should have upset Michigan State in week 1, right? I'm putting my first upset on my first upset. They go to Wake Forest to open the season.
And this is the tricky part. This is the reason why I didn't give Pitt the time of day. This is why I didn't give App State the time of day.
No, it gets better. No, it's going to get better. They got to go to San Diego State. Circle that one on your calendar. You already know they play BYU. They got to go to Fresno State. By the way, Fresno State is the one that actually won the division, the conference last year. Surprise. Right. You ready for this, Dallas? Write this down. October 5th, Utah State got to go on the road. And they going to the other Death Valley. For those of you who trying to catch up, Utah State is going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana on October 5th.
So wait, it's Wake Forest, LSU, and who else from the group, from the Power 5?
That's it.
Okay, so
they go to Wake Forest and they go to Death Valley.
While it's Wake Forest, being at Wake Forest, that does validate it because it's still the whole, you know, the narrative. That's ballsy of Wake Forest scheduling one of the best group of 5 teams in the country at a home game. You know, even though you're a Power 5 team, you at least have the excuses of travel, jet lag, you know, facilities not being up to par, gamesmanship. Like you have excuses, but dude, you're gonna invite them to Wake Forest? Like who the heck? What the heck have the Deacons been doing as of late? That's ballsy. Ain't gonna get them nowhere close to the ACC championship, but that's ballsy. I was number 5.
I seen that LSU game. I'm like, yo, oh my goodness,
to gonads.
That actually makes me so anxious to hurry and get to the SEC because I want to see LSU's schedule. And where does Utah State fit in that schedule?
Well, I mean,
I want to see if there's a stretch and Utah is in the middle of it. Oh, that would be.
Well, what time of the year is the Utah State game?
October 5th.
No. They'll be straight. Because, dude, they're in the SEC West. October 5th, that's only like, what, week 5? What's that, week 5?
About week 6.
So maybe it's...
I had San Diego State on my list. Their game, they're going to Chip Kelly. Either Chip Kelly gonna have another bad year, or they gonna make a statement when they see San Diego State.
And the way San Diego State's been playing their football, that's the perfect way to counteract Chip Kelly at the collegiate level. Chip Kelly is going to do a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even know if we have an actual name for it. We call it a spread. We call it a read option, but it's really so much more than that. Meanwhile, San Diego State, since like the 90s, they've just been I-form. I form a defense, and that's the best way to shut down a Chip Kelly team.
You know, the funny thing is they play Nevada. That's probably a team you
But I mean,
forgot
in the big
about.
scheme of things, Nevada's.
There's
Fresno State is a 17 team. That's
Fresno State is the defending
yeah,
champs.
like
That's
Fresno
the
State's the
problem.
17th team on this list. Though I mean, God damn, we can't just. While there are other teams that are warranted to be discussed in a lowly podcast like ours, we also have to be realistic at the fact of like one team is going to get into the New Year's Six, and one team may have the argument that the team in the New Year's Six wasn't actually the best team in the group of five. With that, though, Fresno State's the defending champion.
They won the West last year. They went to the food
And
table.
dude, I'm gonna be real with you. You have Utah State, Boise State, San Diego State. I have Boise State and San Diego State and BYU that plays the Mountain West schedule. You have,
But I threw an extra one in there though.
You're
Ready for
5A.
this one? Northern Iowa Huskies.
Northern Iowa, yes.
Want to hit the first 3 games, and they all on the road. They
Wait,
first
you
3
mean
games all
Northern
on the road.
Illinois?
Yeah,
Okay.
they first 3 games. All road games. You ready for this? Utah, Nebraska, Vanderbilt.
God, dog. And I'm pretty sure, but, you know, I'm sure that you can verify. Northern Illinois right now is the only team that both of us mentioned from the MAC. Northern Illinois is the only team from the MAC that anybody's probably going to mention. Western Michigan fell off the cliff after their New Year's Six appearance. So, yeah. Yeah, but, dude, you got to think, though. I mean, it says that you're a 5A. So, for me, I have UCF, Army, Boise State, San Diego, BYU. And you have UCF, Houston, Boise State, Utah State, and San Diego State, and Northern Illinois are 5A and 5B. Here is the problem, Darnell. The Playmakers blog is a single entity. We have to agree on one top 5. And right now, I think the only thing that we truly agree on is that UCF should enter number 1 and probably has the strongest chance to remain number 1. We got to figure out the other 4, though.
Yeah, the other 4 is interesting.
Because like I'm a level with you, bro. The way I am going to do it, I don't know about you, but we're gonna do the top 5 now. Do you think we should do 2 or 3 bubble teams to watch out for in the beginning of the season?
We probably
Okay, so 2 or 3. Like which one? Okay.
I'll say 2.
All right, so we have UCF at number 1. Now, I have records in front of me. We just talked about schedules, but I jotted stuff down just in case we forgot. I also have the conferences they're in. Now,
your number 2 is
Yeah.
Army, right? Your number 2 is Army. My number 2 is Houston.
I mean, it's tricky because the Army-Navy game has its own week and its own level of like stuff to it. And also because of the way it's scheduled, there is a chance for Army to like ruin the entire like New Year's Six picture. We could have UCF be in the New Year's Six. And
I'm glad you brought that Navy game because Navy.
Navy's in the tank right now, and that hurts me to say.
No, because and against Army, right? They got to get past Houston first. They play Houston on November 30th, and then they got to get ready for it.
Oh, dude,
Army.
coming off a 3-10 season, like it's gonna be rough all the way through. The only reason I even mentioned Navy's name is because once upon a time, they were one of the teams that was going to be in the New Year's Six Bowl before they screwed the pooch and lost to Houston.
Houston. It's tricky because you're looking at that Michigan game. That's week 2. That's it. Houston coming out of the gate at Oklahoma, and then they go home to play State. Their quarterback is back healthy again. The question is, who's going to step up with him?
Another thing is, like I said, 7-5 in 2017, 8-5 in 2018, AAC, where UCF is in it. Are they better than the Army? Were they better than the Army the past 2 years? And are they going to be the best team in their conference even? We can look at Army right now and say Army isn't going to be the best independent, but that's because Notre Dame, which really shouldn't even be in the group of five. We really should be having them in the Power Five with the ACC, the way their schedule is and the way that they treat Notre Dame and the fact that Notre Dame just made the playoff. But Army and BYU are basically going to be fighting for the best group of five independent thing. And the way BYU starts off, I mean, Army might just get it by default.
Number 2 is up for debate, but can we put Boise State at 3? Because BYU schedule, that's tough. And that's tough for them to survive the first 4 games.
I mean, Boise State's proven it. The only reason why Boise State isn't even number 1 right now is because recency bias. And I will say recency bias with UCF because Boise State's been a double-digit win team. Boise State's been a contender in the Mountain West. Boise State's been doing what they've been doing in the group of five, like since 2003. They haven't lost a step. They haven't fallen off the cliff. They haven't had the one magical season and then went on and went on. They keep doing it. And dude, they're in Idaho. Who the hell is trying to go to school in Idaho? Like Boise State being number 3 is like easy.
My question is, do we go Utah State or do we go BYU?
I say we should go Utah State because BYU making it through that schedule. The thing is, it's the preseason. But BYU barely went bowling last year. They barely went bowling last year, and then they opened up with this schedule this season.
Utah, Tennessee, USC, and Washington? That's your first 4. Now, if we want their first 4 games, we might have said, okay, we might do something. But that's your first 4
And here's the crazy things. Because BYU is like the Mormon church, we talk about them more than we really should. But at the same time as they do, BYU has had draft picks. BYU has been spitting out elite talent. BYU has they're independent for a reason. They're one of those brands in college football that for whatever reason can be independent, have their own television network, have their own schedule, and do all that other stuff, and it works. Not every school can do that. UConn sure as hell ain't gonna be able to do that for long.
At least with Utah State, okay, you open up, you go to Wake Forest. You have a period between then until you got to go to Death Valley. Because when you go to Death Valley, you better be on your A game.
Yeah.
Out the gate, BYU, they're gonna be on the A game against Utah. They're not gonna be on the A game when they go to Tennessee. They're not gonna be on the A game when they come back home and have to play USC. And they're not gonna be on the A game when they stay home and they play Washington.
You're right. So Utah State is the definite 4. Now here's the tricky part, Darnell. This dichotomy we have on Army and Houston is legitimate on both sides. That being said, even though it would be a huge slight to the other team, both of those teams need to be on this top 5. The only question is, who is going to be higher than the other? The knock against.
So basically, we got UCF, boys.
Yeah, but we have 2 vacant and 5 vacant. Now, unless you think there is another team that is that warranted over Army or Houston being 5th, we have to figure out which one of these teams are going to be 5th.
San Diego State, you at UCLA, you won't even know about Chip Kelly like that. But Northern Illinois, good gracious.
Northern Illinois could be on the bubble for me, but they can't be in the top 5. They're in the MAC, first of all. That's like the first thing off rip. They're in a conference where it's either going to be them or bust. Like 2.
I'll probably give you Army number 2 because they only got 1 big test at the beginning of the season. That's just they got to go to the big house. Houston got to go to Oklahoma and then come home and play youth in Washington State.
That might knock them off the map. Starting off 0-2 was a trip. Okay, so UCF, Army, Boise State, Utah State, and Houston. That's the inaugural preseason Playmakers Block top 5 for the group of 5. Now, we have the defending Mountain West champion, the defending Sun Belt champion, that one team out there that just does whatever the hell they do because they're in the Hawaii Bowl every year. We have Memphis. We have FAU. We have UAB that won 11 games last year. Who are the teams on the bubble where if ish goes south week 1, we are putting them straight into the top 5 immediately?
One of them definitely got to be Northern Illinois. Which reminds me because they first game, not the first, they second game is against Utah. And that's after Utah got to go to BYU.
So they're either going to be extra motivated or beat up, but either way. I mean, you're talking about a Pac-12 team and a MAC team, Darnell. Are you sure?
If Utah want to open up against BYU, I want to do it. But the fact that Utah got to go to BYU, and we know how much BYU don't like Utah, so they gonna come out fiery. We don't know how that game gonna go, and then you got to regroup yourself to play Northern Illinois, and we know Northern Illinois is good for an upset somewhere at the beginning of the season.
You know, okay.
You and at 0-2. And it's not far-fetched. Utah could be 0-2 at the beginning of the season.
All right. You know what? I'll give you Northern Illinois if you give me App State. Because App State right now has the perfect opportunity. They finished the season 25th in the CFP rankings. They're in the Sun Belt. Appalachian State only has UNC and South Carolina. The South Carolina game, okay, you're talking 12-1 after the bowl season. I mean, dude, Georgia Southern is the only other team. And Georgia Southern is a 10-3 option team. So, you know, if they make their schedule any tougher, now they're an option team with lesser talent that can't pass the ball. If we're talking about who is going to have the best record, who is going to be in contention to win their conference, and who has already been shown respect, if you're going Northern Illinois, I got to go App State because everybody else done scheduled themselves to hell.
Yeah, Memphis opening up against the Old Miss.
Yeah.
On that one.
Yeah, like, okay, so
who else on the list? San Diego. That's the San Diego State. San Diego State might have it easy. I just thought about that.
All right, so because you have to, unfortunately, other responsibilities that are not of the fun husbandly kind. Here's what I'll put it on the Twitter and everything, even though blah. Actually, yeah, whatever, blah. The August, whatever, preseason top 5 for the group of 5 by the Playmakers Block podcast. Number 1, UCF. Number 2, Army. Number 3, Boise State. Number 4, Utah State. Number 5, Houston. And on our bubble, Northern Illinois and Appalachian State. So right now, by way of consequence, because let's be honest, they'll never be competing for a real national championship, we're picking UCF to basically be the best group of 5 team in the country and de facto the king of all the, it wouldn't be peasants. Would they be lesser thans? Dukes? Charlatans? I don't know. But either way, we're picking UCF to be the best of the group of 5 yet again and get the NY6 Bowl. Houston are going to be on their ass.
I mean, they got the talent, man.
With UCF. The only question with UCF, with Army, Army right now has one of their best passing quarterbacks in a long time. Ahmad Bradshaw, when he graduated, they were supposed to have a huge drop. However, that was not the case. This guy that they have, his name escapes me right now, but he does the quarterback duties in the running game. But I think he also, and remember the summer that we're talking about, I think he also like almost passed like 1,000 yards or did pass for 1,000 yards. So this is one of those guys. He might actually get like, up there in the career passing books for Army.
Oh, as we get ready to close out here, we're going to do something a little different on this one. So, it'll take from year one of podcasting.
Great stress reliever, not going to be in it for the money. What about you?
Me, a lot of fun. Happy to talk football again. We talked a lot of football and a lot of stuff happened. We got the joke and all that stuff. It's been fun. Your ACC and your Group 5 is out the way. Next week, we'll get into the Big Ten. Real fun for Dallas, because Dallas loves to talk about that one guy that's living up there.
Yeah, that one guy that got rid of Alex Smith, and Alex Smith started living his best life.
So we'll be doing that. Also, next week, we be getting NFL talk. 2 other people.
Your favorite.
So that should be fun. And don't forget, tomorrow, we going back to wrestling. Real quick, you want to give them a snippet of what's going on wrestling?
Trish Stratus is going to face Charlotte, and to be honest, that's probably the biggest news you're going to get from me.
Football's back. College football is back. Next week, NFL is back. I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.